I'm back with yet another video, and today's a book haul, which you might be thinking, didn't you just post one a couple weeks ago? The answer is yes, but we're not really going to talk about that because we have books to talk about today. But these are books that I have been accumulated over various weeks. Yes, I feel like I need to save them all up and do a giant one towards the end of the year, but now that I'm looking, it is quite a large pile. But like I said, this is over a large chunk of time, and some of them were for special occasions. I have a justified reason for each of them, but let's just get started. I'm not going to go super in-depth about each book because then we would be here a while, but yeah, let's get started. So the first two, we actually live like 5 minutes from the Canadian border, and we decided to go into Canada for this first time, and there was this really cool bookstore. It was a used bookstore, but I feel as though they were a little overpriced for used books. But I got two there, and the first one is Agnes Grey by Anne Bronte. I feel like she is the most underrated Bronte sister because her novel, The Tenant of Wildfell Hall, is extraordinary, and I feel like it's not talked about enough. But I saw this and I really wanted to read it because I really loved her writing and her pacing of her novels. It's really good. So I'm really excited to read that one. And then we also have the Cosmic Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. I didn't even know he had written a sci-fi. And then I saw this. Well, I knew when I went into the bookstore, but I saw this and I was like, I'm getting this. Because I have had a hard time finding these like on used sites. So this is going to be a really good read because I love C.S. Lewis, and the cover art is really pretty. I mean, it's a little funky, but it's very pretty. And this is all three of the books. So we have Out of the Silent Planet, Perelandra, and That Hideous Strength. This is going to be a very epic read, I feel. Then we have a biography, and that's The Wheel of Things, a biography of Ellen Montgomery. This is by Molly Gillen. Ellen Montgomery is the author of the Anne of Green Gables series, and I would love to get sort of more an in-depth look at her life. And I saw this and I thought this would be a book that I would really enjoy reading, as well as I am trying to get into more nonfiction biographies, and I think this would be a good one. Then we have a book I've already read, and that's The Guardians of Ga'Hoole Book 1 by Katherine Lasky. I've read this whole series, and I was like, I read them all from the library, but I thought this would be a fun series to have Minnie just Spider-Man her way up the back of the chair. I thought this would be a fun series to have, and if I like see them at a thrift store, if it's the one I need, the number I need, I would collect them because this is quite a fun series. This is in the same vein as Warriors in the fact that if it wasn't about owls and stuff, it would not be a children's book if it was about humans instead, because there was some violence that goes down in those books. Then we have another one I've read, and that's A Lady's Guide to Marvels and Misadventures by Angela Bell. I audiobooked this like in August, and I wasn't gonna buy it. I kept thinking about it over and over, and I thought this is a book I think I would actually really like to reread. But if you like Enola Holmes and sort of steampunk Victorian style, this is a really good one. Then we have a vintage children's classics, and that's Pinocchio by Carlo Collodi. This one, the spine is a little beat up, but I think this is going to be very different from the Disney version of this story, as is the case with most old fairy tales. They are quite darker than the newer versions of them. Then we have Bleak House by Charles Dickens. This is the Barnes & Noble classics. They're really nice, and so when I saw this, I was like, I have got to get this because I have read Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens, and I like his writing, so I think I would like his other works. I have quite a little collection of his going on, but this is a really nice edition. It's a chunky book. It is definitely a brick, but I think this is going to be a really good read. Then we have three by the same author, and that's Daphne du Maurier. And the first one is The Scapegoat. And then we have this stunning edition of Rebecca. But the thing about these two books is they're both in German, entirely in German. This one, the title is Die Erben von Clomira. I hope I'm saying that right. I googled it. I'm probably still saying it wrong, but in English that's The House on the Strand. And it is this really beautiful cover art, and I actually quite like reading in other languages. I read in Spanish decently well. It's been a little while, so I would have to probably start more from the basics. But reading in other languages, I think, is such an interesting, you get an interesting viewpoint through their writing styles, and it really works your brain, and it's something I like to attempt. I'm not saying I am successful, but I like to attempt it. So we have Rebecca entirely in German, and this cover is so beautiful, as well as The House on the Strand in German. So those will be very fun. I am very excited to attempt to read them. Then we just have some little kids books. The first two are The Story of the Fierce Bad Rabbit and Appley Dapply's Nursery Rhymes by Beatrix Potter. I love Beatrix Potter. I think she was an incredible artist and entrepreneur, especially as a woman in the era that she lived in, and I love her works. I collect them in these little green editions, so when I saw them, I knew I had to get them because I don't have these two, and they're such cute stories. Her artwork is so beautiful. Then we have some books that are just simply like the epitome of coziness, and that are the Frog and Toad books. I have three. We have Days with Frog and Toad All Year, and Frog and Toad Are Friends. These books, all by Arnold Lebel, these books are just, they're so sweet. They're so simplistic and charming, and I have read all of them, but they're just so nice. Then we have some fantasy books I've already read, and those are, the first two are Winter's Mated and Winter's Chill by Morgan L. Buss. I got these like a week ago, and I already read them because her writing style just works so well for me. I can read her books. I just binge her books because I've read the Ravenwood Saga by her. Love those. I've read book 1 in the Follower the Word series, and this is a Viking fantasy. Really good. And I saw these were on sale, so I got each of these for less than $10 for brand new hardcovers. Very nice deal. And yeah, I just binged the crap out of these. Then we have a book that I simply love, and that is On the Edge of the Forgotten Sea by Alyssa J. Zavolianos. I've already read this. This is my physical copy. It's so stunning. Her books are always, there's always so much effort put into the designs, and you can always tell. And the reason I got a hardcover is because on the naked undercover is this beautiful whale design. Oh, this book is just perfection in my eyes. I also have some of the pre-order art. So we have a signed book plate that is so pretty, and then let me get this out. Some character art. I also have a bookmark and some stickers. The bookmark is currently in use, and the stickers are somewhere. But that book is amazing. I'm sad my review is deleted because it's now lost in the void of me trying to use a different editing app. Next we have some folk/fairy tale collections. The first one being Tales from the Baltic Shores by Eugene Mutt. This is I think it's a 1930s edition. There is a little mark on the spine, but there are really pretty illustrations, and I just love folklore and fairy tales. It's it's just right up my alley. Like, I think that is one of my niches of reading is folklore and fairy tales, and this one has really just enchanting illustrations throughout. I'm really excited to read this one. I love my Irish folklore collection. That was such a good read, so that one's gonna be really good too. Along with that one, we have Scandinavian folk and fairy tales from Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, and Iceland. And this one also has stunning illustrations on the front and back. And this is definitely one of my fastest growing genres, is folk and fairy tale. So I cannot wait to just dive and get lost in these two books. Another thing, these are two really old beat up copies of the Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. I have read the majority of these. I just don't own any collections of them, and I quite like his fairy tales. I think they're cool. I just like them better than like the Grimm's fairy tales. So when I saw these, I was like, this would be a really good collection to have. There are a couple in here I haven't read, like the Snow Queen, which is one I really want to read. So these are just some fun, older, the illustrations are a little bit like nightmare fuel. Some of them are a little scary. Like a little scary, just a little scary, but it's okay. I am excited to read the ones I haven't in here, and as well to have these so I can go back and reread some of my favorite fairy tales from here. Sort of in the same vein as the German books, I have two Spanish books. I have Spanish classical literature and the Book of Spanish Poetry. Like I said, I'm better at reading Spanish than German because I've never tried German, but I do quite like reading in Spanish. I think their language, the language in writing is it flows so nicely, and I'm really excited to go back into reading in other languages. It's something that, you know, it's just a fun challenge for me as a reader. Then we have just this mass market paperback of Antony and Cleopatra by William Shakespeare. This is one of them that I don't have. This one does have some funky illustrations in it. But yeah, this is one of the only plays that well, not the only play, but I have a collection of Shakespeare and this was not in it, so I thought it would be good to snag that. Then we have Beowulf the Warrior, retold by Ian Serralier, and I have been wanting to read this. This is the oldest English epic, I believe, about Beowulf the Warrior who slays the dragon Grendel. Yes. And I have wanted to read this for so long. And this one also has very interesting sort of almost, I don't know what style that is. It sort of seems like Egyptian style. Or more medieval, maybe. But I also want to read Tolkien's retelling of the legend. Minnie is just going on a rampage. She's going crazy. She's trying to climb up the walls. Then we have Leo Tolstoy short stories. I've been also wanting to get into more Russian literature. Minnie, she's crazy. And this is the same author as Anna Karenina and War and Peace, and those are long books. So I thought maybe dipping my toes into more of his shorter works would be a better place to start than starting with the really big ones, just to make sure that I like his writing before I commit to that. So this edition is super beat up, like the spine is very curved. But this has quite a lot of short stories, so I'm interested to see if I like his writing style. I hope I do, because a lot of people love Anna Karenina, and I feel it's more Anna Karenina is the more popular over War and Peace, I think, or at least that's what it seems like. So I am very excited to try those. The last book I accidentally bought, and how that happened is I saw it on eBay. There was an option to send an offer to the seller, and I'd never done that before on eBay. So I sent them an offer, and they accepted. And I didn't realize that eBay auto buys it for you if they accept your offer. I guess I more thought that like when you went to buy it at a later point, it was just the price that they accepted. But that's this beautiful edition of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. This is the edition I want. I was kind of reading from my library first, and then by this if I really loved it. But now I accidentally bought this one, so now I have it. This is the edition I wanted, and I think it's a special edition, but it's really, really pretty. And it's kind of hard to find. Like, I had a harder time finding it online than I thought I would, but it's got really pretty end papers. That's Jonathan Strange, and on the back is Mr. Norrell. But I have read 2 books by her, Piranesi and The Wood at Midwinter. I own The Wood at Midwinter, and it was I really loved that book. And then Piranesi I read from the library, and I would have bought it, but I didn't love the amount of swearing in it. But I did some research, and this one doesn't have like any swearing in it, and if it is, it's minimal. And I do really love her writing, and people say this one has writing reminiscent of Jane Austen, which I love Jane Austen. I'm really excited. I'm expecting high things from this, but yeah, I'm just so excited for this. But that is the whole haul. I know it was quite a lot. I think I might be the problem here. But let me know if you guys have found any cool recent thrifting finds or just finds in general. And thank you guys so much for your support, and goodbye.